Dukkhappata ca niddukkha bhayappata ca nibbhaya sokappata ca nissoka hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought in mind, let us focus on our Dhamma talk. Today we want to talk on Vedana. Vedana means feelings. This is very important section. Feeling, we normally, some people think feeling is one, sensation is another. We are dealing with the Buddhist meditation and use Buddhist terminology. According to the Buddha's way of explaining aggregates, he used the word feeling. It is very practical. If you go to a doctor and you complain that you have pain, there is no way for him to know the degree of pain. It is not registered in his stethoscope or in his computer or in his cell phone. He cannot register my pain. So he asked me, I give you number 10. Out of these 10, tell me the degree of your pain. So when that is not clear to me, he asked me then again, it is from 1 to 10. So I had to figure out how much I pain, what degree of pain I have. So I don't know what. I say 5. So he registered my pain is up to that degree. Pain's mercury is gone up to 5. So that is how normally people measure the pain. Now friends, we measure our own pain by paying attention, or pleasure, or neither pain nor pleasure. We notice the degree of it by paying total mindful attention with clear comprehension. With sati sampajanya, we understand each person. This is one thing you cannot share with anybody. Only you experience it, the degree of pain, only when you pay mindful attention. Otherwise you will simply twisting, turning and saying something. So therefore this subject is very important. And also in the Four Noble Truths, Number one is dukkha, suffering, which includes pleasure and happiness as well. Because when pain is present, it is dukkha. When pain is absent, it is sukha. Dukkha means unbearable, sukha means bearable. When sukha is present, it is bearable. When it goes away, then it is unbearable. So, happiness, when it is present, is pleasing. When it is absent, not pleasing. Pain, when it is present, is not pleasing. When it is absent, it is pleasing. In between there is another feeling called adukkha masukha. We will explain all these things in detail when we try to practice this meditation. But I want to, in the introduction to this subject, want to outline the types of feelings we are dealing with or talking about. Then the third is called adukkha masukha in Pali. Dukkha means not pain, not unbearable. Asukha is not pleasant. That means it is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. There is a feeling. Now, this is not kind of emotion, as some people think emotion is one thing, feeling is another. For our purpose, according to the Dhamma, we use one word, feeling, which is divided into three: pleasant, unpleasant, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling has to be clearly comprehended to know it. So, normally people know the pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling. They simply don't talk about neutral or neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. This is not a kind of mixed feeling. In conversations, when you cannot decide on certain thing, you would say, I have a mixed feeling. In the feeling description in Buddha's teaching, there is no such thing as mixed feeling. Feeling is either pleasant or unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That is very subtle feeling. Neither pleasant or unpleasant feeling, since it is not that clear, Buddha has given a simile for us to understand using, many intelligent people can understand certain things through similes, examples, parables. In order to make this neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling, therefore, the Buddha used a simile. Simile is, suppose there is a deer hunter and he chases a deer and deer runs, leaving footprints behind. Then he come to a very big rock. He climb it and walk over it and goes out of the rock. The deer hunter following him come to the rock. He up to the beginning of the rock he saw the deer footprint. When he comes to the rock, he cannot see the deer's footprint. Then he continued to walk, and then on the other side of the rock he will see the deer's footprint. Seeing this, he infers deer certainly must have crossed the rock and walked away. Similarly, this is the simile. Since the neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is not very clear, we have to understand it through this simile. That means when there is a pleasant feeling and painful feeling, in between there is a feeling. That feeling is not very clear, just like the footprint of the deer on the rock, but there is a feeling. And this feeling, when we have wisdom, insight, clear comprehension, we can use this neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling for our meditation, and also ultimately to get rid of our notion of I. I will explain that how it happens. If we do not have clear comprehension, mindfulness and clear comprehension, when the neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling arises, people get confused. That is called avijja, ignorance. When clear mindfulness and clear comprehension is present, he will not have this avijja. Not only that, he also will be able to overcome his notion of I. So, now let us take, first I want to explain this, what we have in the discourse. I take one of them at a time. Here, when feeling pleasant feeling, a bhikkhu understands, I feel pleasant feeling. We take that. When feeling pleasant feeling, the meditating person understands that there is pleasant feeling. Mindful meditator does not think in terms of I. He doesn't think or say, I feel pleasant feeling. He simply becomes aware of pleasant feeling. Without personal involvement, without thinking I think in all these discourses I mentioned that we should not use the word I when we practice it. Also, in order to make my point clear, I told everybody, even this talk I use the word I many thousands of times. It is just in order to make the point clear or communication easier. Otherwise, I don't believe that there is an I. However, so meditator, when pleasant feeling is there, the person understands the pleasant feeling as it is. He does not think of the past pleasant feeling or the future pleasant feeling. He doesn't think, I had a pleasant feeling, I will have a pleasant feeling. He doesn't think that way. He simply pays attention to the feeling that he experiences. Now, the feeling arises because of contact. We studied it from dependent origination. When two things come together, consciousness triggers at that very instant and contact arises that moment feeling arises. I tell you very common, somewhat crude, technical simile. When you drive a car, the wheels, no matter whether it is 18 wheels or 4 wheels or 6 wheels or 3 wheels, when you drive, the wheel touches the ground at a very, very tiny little point. And that is why the culvert pipes are made round. Because it does not stay long enough to press to weigh the vehicle's weight or stay on the vehicle's weight on the culvert pipe. If it is flat, the wheel, when it touches the pipe can break. Since it is round, the vehicle is also, the tires also, wheels also are round. When round object touches another round object, the touching point is very, very tiny little and quickly moves. No matter how many times this point is touched, the culvert pipe doesn't break because it is also round. Similarly, when there is, say for instance, eye, visual objects, eye consciousness, and contact, these 4 things happen so quickly that you hardly can notice the touch, but you feel the touch. You have no time to even verbalize it, no time even to think, but you feel it. Next point, next point, next point, next point. So you feel the feeling of the touch. Without that touch or contact of the eyes, visual objects, and consciousness, without the combination of these 3, you will not have a contact. Without these 4 combination, you will not have feelings. So, mindful meditator does not have time to think, I feel. Does not have time to think, I feel. He hardly has time to notice the feeling contact and feeling. Contact and feeling. And therefore, the meditator becomes, we should say, instead of saying, I feeling pleasant feeling, instead of saying, I feel a pleasant feeling, instead of saying this sentence, the meditator, we must say the meditator should be aware of the pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling. Aware or mindful, pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling. And it doesn't take too long for him to become aware of the pleasant feeling. And if it is repeated, the mind, the awareness also continues to repeat. The moment we use the word I, or the moment we use a word to think, then we do not feel the pleasant feeling as it is. And therefore, our training is to see or experience or know things as they are. If we use words, sentences, thoughts, then we will distort that particular experience. Without any distortion, we should be able to notice or become aware of the pleasant feeling. Some people say notice, and notice if we do without words, that's okay word to use not to explain it. Aware does not have that kind of connotation. Aware does not have a connotation of word verbalizing. But the notice sometimes, or some people say mental note. If we do mental note without words, we can use the word mental note. So the meditator, when pleasant feeling arises, that person understands pleasant feeling exactly as it is. Now, the opposite of pleasant feeling is unpleasant feeling or painful feeling. We don't need too much commentaries, explanation to understand painful feeling. And we understand it very clearly when something is painful. This painful feeling can arise through, just like pleasant feeling arises through six senses, painful feeling can also arise through six senses. They are called Chakku Sampasaja Vedana. Feeling arises through the eye contact, or sukha, in this case pleasant feeling. Pleasant feeling arises through the eye contact, pleasant feeling arising through the ear contact, pleasant feeling arising through the nose contact, pleasant feeling arising through the tongue contact, pleasant feeling arising through the body contact, and the mental feeling or feeling of them arises through mind contact. Pleasant feeling. Similarly, unpleasant feeling, painful feeling, through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind contact. Remember the contact. Eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, mind contact. Unpleasant or painful feeling arise. Now, again we must understand these are all feelings, not any emotions. Emotion is something that we add to this feeling. That is why when Nakula Pita, an old gentleman, 80 years old, he went to the Buddha one day. You know, when you are 80 years old, you have aches and pains here and there. It is a very common thing. So he went to the Buddha and said, Venerable Sir, I have aches and pains all over my body. Could you teach me how to deal with it? Could you explain to me how to deal with it? Then Buddha said to Nakula Pita, dear, everybody called him Nakula Pita, that is his name. Nakula was his son. He was very famous. So this gentleman, we don't know his name. People began to call him by the famous son's name. So he became Nakula Pita. Then Buddha called him Nakula Pita. When you have bodily aches, don't make your mind aching. Don't let your mind ache. When body aches, let it limit to the body. And don't make the mind ache. That's what Buddha said. And the rest of the story I tell later on because I don't have much time. So this gentleman didn't understand it. What Buddha meant was, Buddha said, when you have the body aches, you are as if you are like one who is suffering from one dart, one arrow. If you let your mind ache, in addition to the body ache, then you would be like a person who has been hit by two arrows. But therefore, if it is a bodily pain, let it be so. But don't make your mind ache. This is very profound teaching. Then Nakula Pita, of course, just like all people like me, comprehension is very poor. He left with paying respect to the Buddha, and he looks very delightful. And then he met Venerable Sariputta. And Sariputta asked him, Nakula Pita, you seem to be very happy today. How come? He said, I met the Buddha. Did you have any conversation? Oh yes, I had a conversation. I asked him this question. He gave me this answer. But I don't understand it. Could you explain to me? Nakula Pita, you asking me to explain it? You should have asked the Buddha when you were there. Venerable said, I'm out of respect for him. He also is 80 years old. I don't want to trouble him. And could you explain it to me? Venerable Sariputta said, okay, I explain to you. I give you Sariputta's explanation next time. Now, I think my time is up. I want to end this session with sharing metta again with everybody.